Hi folks, welcome back to my channel. So this year we had about 3 months with absolutely no rain whatsoever across the summer, and I think in November it's trying to make up for that because it's been kind of non-stop rain for the whole month. I went out on my bike this morning for a couple of hours and the roads are absolutely awash with water. Yeah, it's been a shocking month, which has made it quite difficult to get out and do some astrophotography. However, a couple of nights ago, just as I was drawing the curtains, it had been cloudy all day. I peeked out to see what was going on, which is a bit of a habit of mine to make sure that, you know, we've not got a brilliant night coming up or something. And suddenly I noticed it was clear. So I checked on the weather radar app, and sure enough we were due for a couple of hours worth of clear. You wouldn't know it now, I could probably hear the rain on the conservatory roof here. Yeah, so what followed was a kind of frantic setting up of my gear. I was going to use the Star Adventurer here, and I decided I was going to try and shoot an easy target, the Andromeda Galaxy, just to sort of guarantee myself that I was going to get something. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise basically, like an impromptu imaging session. And let's have a little look at kind of what went on. My name's John and I make videos on camping, astronomy and walking. If you like what you see in this video, then please check my channel out, as there may be others that interest you there. But in the meantime, let's crack on with today's video. So I picked Andromeda because it's quite an easy target to find, and the Star Adventurer here hasn't got a go-to function, so you need to be able to find objects for yourself. Once you've found them, this thing will track them across the sky, but you need to hunt them down yourself. As it happens, Andromeda is a nice bright target and quite easy to find. Essentially you find the W-shaped constellation Cassiopeia in the sky, and one of the pointy bits of the W has got the star, I think, called Schedir in it. And if you draw a line between with Schedir, which is a naked eye star, easily visible, to a star called Merak, which is also a naked eye star and quite easily visible, then around 2/3 of the way towards Merak, if you follow that line, sits the Andromeda Galaxy. So it's fairly easy to spot whether you're using binoculars or a telescope or just a camera. Now I decided to use the Askar FMA135 telescope for this. I've shot Andromeda before, both using a I think 24mm standard camera lens to get a really wide field view, and also using a 60mm refractor, which is probably more or less ideal for something like the Andromeda Galaxy. You get quite a lot of detail out of it, and you get to see the whole galaxy within the in the frame. But the Askar FMA135 kind of sits in the middle of those two extremes, and it's quite nice. You get quite a nice wide field of view, and it enables you to kind of see the galaxy in context, if you like, of the stars around it. So I've never shot it at 135mm before, so I was quite keen to do that. The other advantage of using the FMA135 scope is the field of view is quite wide, which means that it's quite easy to actually find the target. You only need to point the whole thing in roughly the right area, and the chances are you're going to see Andromeda in there. And sure enough, I took my first test shot and the Andromeda Galaxy was almost right smack in the centre of my field of view. So I was quite happy with that. I experimented a little bit with exposure lengths, and in the end I settled for 2-minute exposures. My setup had been quite rapid, so my polar alignment probably wasn't superb, and my balancing of the whole thing probably wasn't superb either. I think I was, from the minute I opened the conservatory doors, it took me about 5 minutes and I was actually shooting subs of the target, so it was a very rushed affair basically. But yeah, I settled on 2-minute subs, and I just let the whole thing run until a couple of hours later when I popped back outside to see what was going on. So when I popped outside just to check how things were going after a couple of hours, everything was pretty well dewed up at that point, so I figured there was no real point in continuing, because I would have not really got anything out of it, I don't think. So I called it a day after those 2 hours and brought everything in, did a little bit of processing that evening because it was still fairly early. It was only like 8:30, 9 o'clock by that stage. Yeah, to produce a final image. Overall, I was very pleased. The composition was pretty well what I was after. A kind of wide field-ish shot of the Andromeda Galaxy to put it into context with the stars around it. The processing was just my usual. I took the stars out using StarNet++, did a bit of processing on the galaxy itself, and then put the stars back in and subdued them slightly. Yeah, so overall I was quite happy with the picture that I got. I'm still very pleased with the Askar FMA scope. I'm looking forward to the winter constellations coming up now. I've got a little bit of a wait before Orion gets above the tree line behind my house, but when it does, I'm mad keen to try and get the Orion Nebula and the Flaming Horsehead Nebula all within the same shot, which is something I've never managed to do before. So yeah, it's all exciting stuff with winter coming, but now I'm going to put up the image of Andromeda that I took the other night. I hope you like it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, cheerio.